Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a Wet n Wild full face tutorial. Now there are some products in here that are new, and then there's also some products that I've actually had and used. And also I did incorporate a couple of products that I didn't actually have in the Wet n Wild makeup line. So this is actually the look that I came up with using these Wet n Wild products. And yeah, if you want to see how I got this look and what I think about these products, then just keep watching. Okay, so I'm going to go in with primer, and I'm going to go in with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Face Primer. It's the Dewy primer. I saw this on the display and I wanted to go ahead and try it. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with that. Swatching it on the back of my hand, it does have a little bit of luminosity to it. So I'm going to go ahead and place that all over. Feels cooling on the skin. Oh yeah, it has luminosity to it. Can you guys tell? It actually looks really pretty. I know it probably can appear somewhat oily on camera, but it really isn't oily. It doesn't feel greasy on the skin. It actually feels really good. Okay, we'll see how it dries down. I really like the luminosity that it gives. It's just really pretty. Okay, I know this video is pretty much all Wet n Wild beauty products, but I want to go ahead and use this Hard Candy Sheer Envy Stick It to Pores Mattifying Pore Primer Stick. And I saw this at Walmart and I bought it, and I haven't really had a chance to use it. I wanted to go ahead and use it today just to see if it works. But this is the cute little packaging that it comes in. It's got little yellow polka dots on the cap, and it is a stick type of product. That's that there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and rub my finger to kind of warm up the product, and then I'm just going to place that in the areas where I have pores. It doesn't seem to really be doing much to my pores, but I guess we'll see when I put that foundation on. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with the foundation. I have the Mega Cushion Foundation by Wet n Wild. I've got Honey Beige and I've got Natural Beige, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of mix the two together. I have used this foundation probably about twice. It's kind of a medium buildable coverage, but it doesn't go to full coverage. So I've used it with a brush and with a sponge, and I actually like the way it goes on with a sponge. So let me go ahead and grab a sponge, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm going to use this new beauty sponge that I got by Maybelline. It's called the Maybelline Face Studio Blender Sponge. It looks like this. And I went ahead and wet the sponge so that it could be a bit damp when I put this foundation on. I'm going to go ahead and dip the sponge into the foundation, and then I'm going to place that all over my face. I really like how this foundation goes on. It just looks so seamless on the skin. It's just beautiful. That primer that I put on is like really showing through the foundation. I can still see some of my imperfections through the foundation, but I can cover those up with some concealer. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to my concealer. I do not have a Wet n Wild concealer. I have used the Wet n Wild concealers before, and they just do not work for me. What I've been trying, and this is a new product that's been out probably for maybe a few weeks now, but what I've been trying is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealers. They look like this, and I've got 3 shades. I've got C7, C8, and C10. And C7 is a very light, it's a very light concealer for me, and then C8 is probably more on the medium tone, and then C10 is what I use to cover up some of my imperfections. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. I have been enjoying this concealer. It is just a very nice creamy consistency, very lightweight. I don't think it's as full coverage as the Tarte Shape Tape concealers, these concealers here, but I do think that it's very close to it. So if you're looking for a really good affordable concealer and you want to try something that's close to the Tarte Shape Tape, this is going to be the concealer that you want to try. Yeah, this is a really good concealer. So I have been using this for a few days now and I'm really loving it. I'm going to go in with C8 first and I'm going to place that just here. Like so. I'm going to place the C7 just a little bit in the inner corner, just a tad bit, just to give it some highlight. Like that. And then I'll go in with the C10 to cover the imperfections in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and use the same sponge. As you can see, it's got this little curvy area here. I'm going to go ahead and use that to blend in my concealer. I like the tip of this. It really gets in there. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and go in with the C10 and I'm going to place that just on my areas where I feel like I need a little bit more coverage. So the cheek area. And I'm also going to take C8 and actually place that in the areas where I want a little more highlight. So I'm going to go C8 here. Down my nose, top of my lip, and my chin. I'm going to blend it with the same sponge. I just love how that concealer just blends so well. And it looks really smooth in the under eye area. I don't have a setting powder from Wet n Wild for my under eyes, but I'm going to use the e.l.f. Set and Smooth setting powder. I did do a tutorial using all e.l.f. products that I recently purchased and this was one of my favorites. So I will be using this. And with that e.l.f. product, I'm going to go in with the Wet n Wild Precision Setting Brush and it looks like this. Okay, this is what it looks like. These brushes are just gorgeous. Look at the way they look. Look at that handle. It's got this little part right here where you can actually place your finger when using the brush. It's just really beautiful. Okay, so now that I've got my under eyes set, I'm going to go ahead and go in with the Mega Cushion Contour in Cafe Au Slay. It comes like this. I've had this, but I just wanted to show you guys because this is a very popular product and this is how it looks. That's one of the first cushion products that I actually bought from Wet n Wild. And I really like it. It blends really well and it's just a beautiful color. I'm going to go ahead and use this flat contour brush. It looks like this. And I'm going to actually place that into the product and then I'm going to dab it on my face and blend it in. Look how pretty that color is. Just a beautiful bronze shade. So I placed the product there and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use this brush to blend it. I'm actually going to go back in with that sponge and then just blend it all into my foundation. I'm going to put a little bit more of this contour like on my chin area. Right here. And I'm going to go ahead and set the foundation with the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Powder. And I'm going to use the large powder brush to go ahead and set all my foundation with that powder. The powder brush is like tapered and then it's kind of got like this point at the top. But it's really soft. So I'm going to go ahead and set my foundation. Oh yeah, it's very soft. So I had a Wet n Wild Photo Focus eye primer and I think I finished it and I threw it away because I used to use that thing all the time. So I'm just going to go ahead and go in with this Essence I Love Stage Eye Primer. This is a really good affordable eye primer. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on my eyelids to prep my eyes for the eyeshadow. And I'm gonna go ahead and use the Precision Flat Face Brush. It's got this little flat top on it. Okay, now that that's blended all out, I'm gonna go ahead and use the e.l.f. Set and Smooth Powder to set that eye primer. I'm gonna use the same brush that I used to set my under eyes. I'm just gonna set that primer. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with eyeshadow. I have 3 eyeshadow palettes. One of them is the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone. It's this one here. And then I also have the Hooked on Vinyl and the Lights Out. This is Hooked on Vinyl and this is Lights Out. I think I'm gonna use the Hooked on Vinyl and also the Comfort Zone. I'm gonna use those 2 palettes today. I'm first gonna go in with the Fluffy Blending Brush. It's this one here, and this is what it looks like. These brushes are super soft, guys. So far, so good on the Wet n Wild brushes. I'm gonna go in with the Hooked on Vinyl palette, and I'm actually gonna go into this color right here as a transition color. It is a light color. I don't know how well it's gonna work on my skin tone, but they are powdery. Let me go ahead and start with that one. It's not a bad shade. It's light. I can see it, but you probably can't tell on camera. So now I'm gonna go ahead and go into this is the Comfort Zone palette, and I thought that the product actually opened upwards, but it doesn't. It opens sideways. So, and it was so difficult to open for some odd reason. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with this color here at the top. I'm gonna use that same brush, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put that in my crease, right on top of that other shade. Okay, so next I'm gonna go in with this tapered blending brush. Looks like that. And then I'm gonna go into the Hooked on Vinyl palette, and I'm gonna go into this color here. And I'm just gonna put that, it's gonna be a little bit more detailed because it's a tapered blending brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and just put that in my crease. Just kind of right in the center. This color has a little bit of shimmer to it. And I think what I'm gonna do, guys, is go ahead and bring that down onto the lid. I like the color for the crease, but for some reason I just want to go ahead and bring it down because it's so pretty. So I'm going to bring it all over the lid, and I'm using that same brush. Oh yeah, I like that much better. There is some fallout with this color, but it's not real bad. I'm just going to clean my brush off. I'm gonna go back into the Comfort Zone palette. I'm gonna go into this brown here. That's gonna go more in my crease and on the outer part of my eyelid. Oh, there's lots of fallout with this one. I don't know if y'all can see it. You see that? And it doesn't have as much pigmentation as I thought it would. Wow, there's lots of fallout with this one. That's why I try to not do my face before I do my eyeshadow, because for this reason, if there's fallout, you know, you have to clean it up, and you want to make sure that it's not messing up your other, like messing up your foundation or your concealer. I'm going to take this Wet n Wild Kabuki makeup brush, and I'm going to use that to actually move that fallout off of my face. Ooh, it's super soft. So just dust it off. I'm going to go ahead and go in with that same brush. I'm going to go into that dark green right here. And I'm going to use that on the corner of my eyelids. Hopefully this won't have too much fallout. It's more of like a green-black color. It's not like a forest green. Kind of looks like a forest green in the palette, but it's not. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with this green shade right here, and I'm gonna kind of place it on top of that black green shade to see if it emphasizes any more green. So let me see if it works. It did bring out some of the green. Yeah, I like the way that looks. I'm gonna go ahead and go back in with the fluffy blending brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and blend those colors so there's no harsh lines. And I'm gonna go ahead and clean off the fallout. Okay guys, I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows off camera. I'm using the Maybelline Total Temptation brow definer, and it's in the shade Deep Brown. I'm gonna go ahead and use that for my eyebrows, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I wanna go ahead and go in with the Dome Eye Pencil, and I'm gonna use this to actually place the eyeshadow on my bottom lash line. So let me go ahead and open this. I'm gonna go in with the Comfort Zone palette, and I'm gonna go into that top transition color. I'm gonna place that first on the bottom of my lash line. I'm gonna go in with that dark green color, and I'm gonna place that with the same brush near my lash line as close as possible. Okay, so now I'm going to take the Hooked on Vinyl palette. I'm going to go in with that cream color there. And I'm just going to take a brush that I have by Real Techniques. I'm going to actually place that near my brow bone. That actually is a very nice brow bone highlight color. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take my MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash, and I'm going to put that on my bottom lashes. I don't have a bronzer from Wet n Wild other than the one I showed you, the cream bronzer, so I'm going to go in with the Rimmel Maxi bronzer. It's a face and body bronzer. I'm going to go ahead and use the powder brush. Even though I use this to set my face, I want to use the powder brush to see how it works with bronzer. It just seems like it would be perfect for it. So I'm just going to swirl that in there. This brush works really well with the bronzer. It looks nice. Now the bronzer seems to be coming off just a tad bit orange. And I don't know if I like that. But this brush is excellent for bronzer. I really like it. Okay, so I've got some liquid highlighters. This is the Mega Glow Hello Halo liquid highlighter in Go With The Glow and and Goddess Glow. These are the liquid highlighters. And then I've also purchased 3 new highlighters. I have a couple other highlighters from Wet n Wild, but I purchased 3 of the newer highlighters. And these are the powder form, and one is in Botanic Dream. The other one is in Royal Calyx, I think that's how you say it. And then the other one is in Golden Flower Crown. I might just go in with the Goddess Glow and then go over it with the powder highlighter. It's actually a glass bottle, which is really nice. It's got a doe foot applicator. I'm actually gonna go ahead and just dab this on the tops of my cheeks, and I'm gonna blend it with my finger. That is gorgeous. Wow, this is a beautiful highlight. And I like it because it looks really smooth on the skin. It doesn't emphasize like texture, which is nice. It's just really pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go over that highlight with the Golden Flower Crown. I kind of want to keep it in the same color range. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with that highlighter. And that's what it looks like. Beautiful gold color. And I'm going to go ahead and use the highlighting brush. And I'm going to dab it in there. This is really intense. I think these highlighters, guys, are really intense on their own, but not so intense that you can't wear it during the day. But when you add like a liquid highlighter underneath it, it really makes it more intense. But it's beautiful. Look at that. That is gorgeous. And I have a blush here that I want to use. It's not a new blush, but it's apricot in the middle, and it's one of their blushes that they've had out for a while. That's the color. It's just nice peachy apricot color. And I'm going to go ahead and use the blush brush from the line. Just dip it in there, tap off the excess, and then just dab that on. Okay, so I'm going to go in with this gel lip liner, and it is in the color Bear to Comment. And these lip liners are so creamy, guys. They're super, super creamy. I'm just going to line my lips. Okay, so my battery actually went out in my camera, so I had to replace it. So if the background kind of looks shifted, it's because I had to move the camera, put the battery in, and all that good stuff. So anyway, let me go ahead and go in with my lipstick. And I'm using the Fergie Daily. And it's this really pretty nude lipstick. And okay, to set my makeup, I'm going to go in with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Natural Finish Setting Spray. And I'm going to spray that. I'm going to shake it a little bit, and then I'm going to spray it all over my face. And that spray will drench your face. It is not one of those delicate mists that other sprays have. Okay, while I let that dry, I'm going to go ahead and do my hair, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I'm going to go ahead and go over the products that did not work for me, and also the products that I really truly loved. So let's go ahead and start with the positive before we get into the negative. And I want to start off by saying that these brushes are so good. Guys, you've got to get your hands on these. They are a bit pricey for the bundle. I think it's like $69.95 for the bundle. So if you go to the Wet n Wild's website, sometimes they'll have 20 to 25% off of their products. And so I got these, I think at 20% off, and I love them. I look forward to using these more often because they are so soft and they really blend the product well, so I really like these. The next thing that I really liked is this Wet n Wild Powder Highlighter. I have two other highlighting powders that I've used by Wet n Wild, and I absolutely love them. This highlighter is just as good as the other two highlighters that I have, so I cannot wait to use these other two, especially this one. It's kind of like a bluish purple color, so I can't wait to use that. So for the liquid highlighters, guys, these are so good. These are such good liquid highlighters. I love the way that they blended on my cheeks. I think that the pigmentation is phenomenal. They're very highly pigmented, and they just blended really well. Once I put them on and dabbed them on with my finger, I just love the way that it went into the skin. It just kind of sunk into the skin, and it didn't accentuate like any texture or anything like that. And then putting this on top just emphasized that highlight so well. I mean, it just looks so pretty. And for the Dewy Face Primer, guys, this has got to be one of the most beautiful dewy primers that I've used from the drugstore. It's just a beautiful, dewy, glowy type of primer that looks really good under the foundation. I could tell that this primer was like giving me that, what is it, glow from within type of a look with this foundation. It just looks really nice on the skin. So yeah, I'm gonna be using this quite a bit. Let's go ahead and go into what I didn't like. And the first thing that I wanna say is this Hard Candy Sheer Envy Stick It to Pores. This is a big no-no. This did not work for me at all. It did not fill in my pores. It didn't mattify my T-zone. It just didn't do anything for me. And it just didn't work. And so it's gonna go back. The next thing that I'm kind of disappointed in, because I really wanted to like these, I have had Wet n Wild shadows before. You know, I had the old Wet n Wild shadow palettes. Those shadows are super highly pigmented. I don't remember as much fallout with the first ones as I did with these. And I have to say that these shadows were not what I expected. So unfortunately, these shadows did not work for me. I just felt like the pigmentation wasn't there, and I just experienced a lot more fallout than I did with the first ones. And guys, you guys know, if you've been watching my channel, that fallout is not a big issue with me as long as the color payoff is there and the blendability is there. If those two things work, then I don't usually have a problem with fallout. That I can oversee. But the fact that there wasn't a lot of pigmentation with this, I felt like I had to put my brush in a lot more times to get the color payoff. So anyway, these just did not work for me. The last thing that I'm on the fence about is this Wet n Wild Cushion Foundation. Now, initial application, it looks gorgeous. I mean, it looks really beautiful. But guys, since I've been wearing it, I noticed that I have a lot of oil on the sides of my nose, and it's already broken down on the sides of my nose. Like in the crease here, it's already kind of broken up, and it just looks oily. It just doesn't look nice. And I set this with a powder that I use most of the time that I really don't have any problems with. It's sad because I really wanted it to work. It just looks so beautiful when you first put it on your skin that you're just like, oh my gosh, this looks so good, and I hope that it lasts. Well, it hasn't really, it just has broken up right here in my, right here around my nose and in my T-zone. It just looks oily to me right now. So anyway, I may try it with a mattifying primer that I normally use in my T-zone, and then just see how it works out before I actually take the product back. Because like I said, initial application, it's so pretty, and I just hate that it's not working for me in my T-zone area. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. All the other products that I used, I had, so I will list those down below. I forgot to mention the sponge that I used. I love this sponge, guys. Look at that point there. It just got right into that area where I needed to blend my concealer. The sponge itself is very soft, and it just has a nice application. I just think it worked really well for me. So I love this sponge. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's all the new stuff that I used. And yeah, I'll list everything down below. And I want to just say thanks again, guys, for being here. Thank you guys for, you know, taking the time to sit down and watch my videos. I really appreciate you guys, and have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.